You know that feeling when you walk into a room and people just kinda shift, like their smiles tighten, their laughter gets quieter, and conversations suddenly stop mid-sentence. It's not about you being rude or arrogant or doing anything wrong at all. There's just something about you, an invisible intensity that people can't quite explain, but definitely notice. Maybe you ask deep questions, maybe you listen with real focus, maybe when you look someone in the eyes, they can't meet your gaze and look away instead. You've probably been told you're too serious, too intense, or that you overthink everything. But what if you're not too much? What if, like Carl Jung believed, the energy you bring into a room is actually something way more powerful, something beyond just surface vibes? I'm talking about your aura, not the typical new agey idea of colorful light floating around you, but a deep psychological force, a kind of silent, invisible energy that shows up in the way you carry yourself, the energy that people pick up on even without you saying a word. Carl Jung spent decades studying this kind of energy, this psychic presence, and what it really means to radiate your true self. Here's the thing, people aren't actually afraid of you. They're scared of what you reflect back at them, their fears, insecurities, and the masks they wear. And because your energy calls those buried parts into the light, they pull away, they avoid you, they gossip, they shrink themselves just to feel safe around you. It's not that you're dangerous, it's that your energy is honest, and honesty can be a little unsettling. When most folks are used to pretending, Jung believed this invisible energy comes from the parts of ourselves most want to ignore or hide. Your shadow, your pain, your truth. When you face these parts head-on and integrate them, your whole energy changes. You develop a presence that's real, not shaped by social masks or trying to please, but by deep self-awareness and inner alignment. People feel this right away, even if they can't put it into words. It's in the way your eyes carry emotion, in the calmness of your silence, and in the quiet but powerful gaze you hold. This kind of aura can trigger reactions in others on an unconscious level, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're exposing what they want to keep hidden. This is why some people keep their distance, why others misjudge you, and some even get intimidated by your presence. Even if you're soft-spoken and kind, your energy is already speaking louder than words. Understanding this is a big part of what Jung taught. We aren't just minds or bodies, we are fields of psychic influence, living synonyms, and walking mirrors. The more honest you are with yourself, the stronger your aura becomes, and the more intense it can feel to those around you. So what does this look like? Here are 13 signs your aura might be quietly overwhelming others. Remember, it's not because there's something wrong with you, it's because your energy is rare. And rare energy can be scary for many. Sign number 1. People say, "You're too intense." It's not about trying to impress or dominate. When you speak, you come from a deeper place, one that's honest and purposeful. But somehow, your words always seem to cut deeper than others want. You say what people usually avoid talking about. You name truths that many prefer to keep hidden. That's why they tell you things like you're too serious or you're too much. What they really mean is, you make me feel things I'm not ready to face. Jung believed some people carry energy that awakens the unconscious. In others, when you speak, it's never just words. It carries presence and emotional honesty. And for those who stick to surface-level living, that feels threatening. Your intensity isn't arrogance or aggression. It's a raw form of honesty few people can handle without flinching. Sign number 2. Small talk drains you. You know the feeling when someone asks, "How's the weather?" or "Did you see that show last night?" You try to stay polite, you nod, smile, respond. Yet inside, you feel tired, maybe even irritated. That's because shallow conversations feel like a mask, a way people avoid real connection. Jung thought, people with strong connections to their unconscious minds can't stand inauthenticity. Small talk disrupts your vibe because you're craving something real, something meaningful. Even if you don't interrupt with those deeper questions, your energy signals that this conversation isn't real. That breaks the social script, and most people don't know what to do with that. Sometimes they misinterpret you as cold or antisocial. But really, you're just starving for authenticity, and your aura makes that hunger visible. Sign number 3. You attract confessions and emotional dumping. Ever notice how strangers start opening up to you like you're a therapist, even though you never asked for it? Friends come to you when they're falling apart. People spill their secrets. Their pain feels safe with you. This isn't by accident. Jung believed that some people naturally carry the unconscious archetype of the healer. Your aura radiates calm, stillness, and a safe space to be vulnerable, even if you don't work in healing. Yet here's the paradox. You rarely feel truly seen or supported in return. You listen, hold space, absorb pain, but few ask how you're doing. It can get lonely, like you're surrounded by emotion, but still starving for real connection. Your energy pulls in those who are hurting, yet intimidates those afraid of their own darkness. Sign number 4. People avoid eye contact with you. You walk in and notice it right away. People glance at you but quickly look away. They lower their voices, act differently. Sometimes they avoid you entirely. Other times, they stare, trying to figure you out without saying a word. Jung taught that when you've embraced the parts of yourself others deny, you unknowingly mirror what they suppress. Your eyes become more than just a social greeting. They become a psychic encounter. They're seeing parts of themselves in you they aren't ready to face. So they flinch, retreat, and probably label you intimidating, even if you're nothing but kind. Your presence demands a level of honesty people might not be ready to meet, because your aura speaks before you ever say a word. Sign number 5. People react strongly to you, even when you're doing nothing. Sometimes you're just sitting quietly, not even speaking, and suddenly someone gets defensive, cold, or irritated around you. You wonder, what did I do? Carl Jung believed that those with evolved, integrated energy naturally disturb the unconscious parts of people around them, especially those still hiding from their true selves. Your presence becomes a mirror, reflecting back insecurity, shame, or envy that others don't want to see. This means you don't have to say anything. Your energy already says it all. It's the silent power of a developed aura. You don't need to demand attention because your existence alone challenges people to face who they really are, and most people don't like that. Sign number 6. You can't stand fake personas and people sense it. You know when someone's just putting on an act. The forced laughter, the way too perfect smile, the surface level, everything's great. You pick up on it almost instantly. It's not about judgment, it just feels exhausting being around people who aren't being real. If you're at a party, or even in a meeting and someone's posturing, you sense it in your gut before you even register it in your mind. Here's why. According to Jung, when you've integrated those shadowy, hidden parts of yourself, you develop psychological wholeness. It's like an internal radar for authenticity. You spot fragmentation in others immediately. So, even if you don't say it out loud, your aura is silently sending out a signal. Drop the act. I see beyond what you're showing. And that can put people on edge. They might get defensive, nervous, or just keep their distance. Not because you're exposing them, but because your energy won't let their mask breathe. It's as if your presence is a silent call for realness, and that's honestly rare. Sign number 7. You make people second-guess themselves. Ever noticed that when you ask a question, even a basic one, people start squirming? They stumble a little bit on their answers or start over-explaining things. You don't accept normal just because it's common. Maybe you challenge assumptions, or maybe you just refuse to nod along if something doesn't quite add up. This isn't about trying to outsmart anyone, and it's never manipulative. It's just that your clarity, that psychic weight of having thought deeply about things, shakes up certainty in others. Jung said that people who embody self-awareness are like living contradictions to the collective. Your calm brings out others' anxiety. Your confidence makes them question their doubts. You don't have to argue or prove anything. Just sitting there as yourself is enough to send ripples. That's why, in a world obsessed with validation, you come off as, to put it bluntly, quietly dangerous. Sign number 8. People open up to you, then pull away. This one hits hard for a lot of people. Someone tells you their whole life story, opens up about things they never say out loud, and for a brief moment, you feel a connection. Then, suddenly, they ghost you. They stop replying, act distant, or just disappear from your life. That's easy to blame yourself. But honestly, it isn't your fault. This is the shadow at work. Jung talked about how being truly seen awakens parts of people, not the parts they show off, but the ones they normally hide, like pain or unresolved trauma. Your aura didn't harm them. It revealed something. Sometimes, that's just too much for someone who isn't ready. So they run, not from you, but from the part of themselves you helped them see. Don't take it personally. You broke no connection. You just made it real. And not everyone's ready for real. Sign number 9. You intimidate people without trying, especially authority figures. You ever walk into a room and notice the whole dynamic changes? Maybe your boss gets weirdly defensive, or that super loud coworker goes quiet. People who thrive on control start to lose their grip a little. And the wild part, you did nothing but show up. This is Jung's idea of the inner king or queen. That quiet inner power you radiate when you've actually integrated your own strengths and shadows. You don't posture or demand respect. There's just this deep, unspoken self-assurance about you that can be threatening to people who build their self-image on being in charge. You'll notice that some authority figures will either respect you a lot or quietly resent you. Without ever saying it out loud, your energy basically communicates, "I'm not under your control." For people who need dominance to feel important, that's actually terrifying. Sign number 10. Sometimes you become the villain in someone else's story. For no real reason. Ever experienced someone suddenly accusing you of being cold, arrogant, too intense, or mean, when you were just being yourself? They twist your silence as judgment, your self-respect as ego, and your desire for solitude into rejection. This is projection in action, a psychological concept Jung really emphasized. When people can't face their own flaws or insecurities, it's easier to project that discomfort onto you. And with your strong, honest aura, you're the perfect target. You didn't do anything to become the villain, you just wouldn't play the victim, and that upsets their narrative. In the end, it often comes down to you challenging their comfort zone, even unintentionally. Sign number 11. Strangers are drawn to you for no clear reason. It's a little weird, honestly. In the grocery store, at airports, just walking down the street, people start talking to you, telling you things they say they've never told anyone. "I don't even know why I'm telling you this," they'll say. And often, these confessions cut straight past the small talk, landing on real, raw feelings. Jung called this numinous energy. It's not about being charming or outgoing. It's like a soul-level gravity that draws in people who are searching for something. Your aura is a kind of quiet lighthouse, especially for people in pain or transition. It's a gift, but sometimes it can feel like a responsibility. 2. Sign number 12. You instantly pick up the vibe of a room. You walk in and, without a word, you can almost taste the atmosphere. If there's tension, you sense it before anyone else says a thing. You notice who's performing, who's faking, who's quietly upset. Friends might call this a sixth sense, but for you, it's just another day. Carl Jung described this as psychological intuition, the unconscious intelligence. Beneath language and logic, you absorb the energy around you, and sometimes, if you're not careful, you start carrying emotions that aren't even yours. It's the double-edged sword of being so attuned, access to deeper connections, but also the risk of energetic overload. Sign number 13. You've always felt kind of otherworldly, and people pick up on that. Sometimes. It's like you've always been an outsider, not alone, but separate, as if you see the world through older eyes. Even as a kid, you felt different, maybe misunderstood. It's not loneliness from a lack of company, but from a sense of walking a different path. Jung once said that some people have a soul calling, an urge for wholeness, growth, and transformation that sets them apart. Your aura carries that depth, even if you don't talk about it. Some are inspired by it, others are a bit scared, but hardly anyone can ignore it. Sign number 14. You have a magnetic pull, but not everyone can handle your closeness. It's not uncommon for people to feel drawn to you like a moth to a flame. Your aura, full of depth and sincerity, acts like a beacon. But here's the catch. While many want to come close, some aren't ready for the intensity that comes with real connection. They want your light but shy away when things get too real, too vulnerable. This is because your energy doesn't just invite surface-level friendship. It silently demands authenticity, and that can make others uncomfortable, even scared. It's not that you're pushing them away. It's that your presence calls them to drop their masks, and most aren't willing to do that quite yet. Sign number 15. You intuitively know when someone isn't genuine, and it messes with group dynamics around you. You walk into a gathering and can tell immediately who's being real and who's faking. Maybe it's because your aura is finely attuned to subtle energies, the tiny shifts in body language, the incongruence between words and feelings. You pick up on the undercurrents everybody else misses. This can make things tricky because your quiet awareness might unsettle the group. People who rely on charm, surface-level approval, or hiding their true feelings might grow defensive or avoid you. Your unspoken radar for truth shakes the safe illusions everyone else is comfortably living in. Sign number 16. You often feel exhausted after socializing, even with people you care about. If you're an introvert, you might already know the drain that extended social time causes. But this goes deeper than typical introversion. It's the energetic impact of being around people who aren't fully themselves. Your aura takes in more than just words. It absorbs emotions, fears, and insecurities that others try to hide. Because you're so sensitive to these invisible energies, social interactions can leave you feeling emotionally depleted, even if you were smiling and engaged the whole time. This is why you might find yourself retreating to solitude more often than others. Sign #17. You have an uncanny ability to see through people's stories. Everyone likes to present themselves a certain way, polished, confident, maybe even charming. But you, deep down, see past this surface facade. Your aura picks up on the contradictions, the hidden pain, the parts people try to bury. Carl Jung would say this is your connection to the collective unconscious, your ability to perceive the archetypes people embody beneath their masks. This kind of perception is profound, but it can also make you feel isolated. After all, knowing the truth rarely makes for casual conversation. Sign number 18. Your silence speaks volumes, and sometimes intimidates people. You don't feel the need to fill space with words. In fact, your silence often carries more weight than any conversation could. When you pause, your energy fills the room, and people instinctively notice. This kind of presence can feel like an unspoken challenge. It asks others to reflect inward or simply acknowledge your full being. Some people admire it silently, while others find it unsettling, especially if they rely on noise and distraction to avoid deeper feelings. Sin #19. You instinctively protect your energy, and people can sometimes sense your boundaries even before you speak, because your aura is rare and vivid. You've had to learn to shield yourself. Maybe it's a posture, a look, or a subtle energy shift around you that silently says, "I'm not open to just anyone." This boundary protects you from overwhelm and unwanted intrusion. People who haven't developed this kind of energetic self-protection might misinterpret you as cold or unapproachable. But really, you're just preserving your inner space, the part of you that carries your truth and depth. Sign number 20. When your energy is off, it's noticeable even without an explanation. Everyone has moments when they feel drained, anxious, or out of alignment. But for you, because your aura communicates so clearly, these inner shifts become visible to others. They might comment on your mood, or ask if something's wrong, even if you've said nothing. This can be both a gift and a challenge. It means your emotional truth is transparent, which can deepen connections with those who are attuned. But it also means you might feel pressure to maintain composure or to protect others from your inner storms. Sign number 21. You tend to see the bigger picture, and that makes others uneasy. You have this way of zooming out mentally, taking in the whole landscape instead of just the immediate moment. You notice patterns, connections, and deeper meanings where others see chaos or randomness. This kind of insight is powerful, but can feel unsettling for people who prefer simpler, more straightforward views. Carl Jung described this as the gift and burden of deep vision. When you carry this awareness, you can't help but question accepted truths and cultural narratives. You naturally challenge outdated beliefs just by holding space for new possibilities. For those stuck in old ways, your perspective shakes their foundations. Because your aura carries this expansive awareness, some people around you may feel small or insecure. They might avoid big conversations or label you as too philosophical or unrealistic. But knowing the unseen isn't a flaw, it's a superpower. Sign number 22. You resonate with silence and solitude on a whole different level. Unlike most, silence isn't empty or awkward for you. It's rich, full, and deeply restorative. Being alone doesn't mean loneliness. It means connection with your truest self. You use solitude as a way to recharge, reflect, and integrate your experiences. This relationship with silence actually intensifies your aura because it reflects inner peace and presence. Jung emphasized that the inner world is foundational to psychic energy. Those who cultivate solitude develop a radiant center that others intuitively feel. But here's the catch. Many people equate silence with disinterest or coldness. They might pressure you to speak up or join the group, not realizing your quiet holds tremendous power. Your aura whispers that sometimes the loudest message is no message at all. Sign number 23. You have an emotional depth that feels overwhelming. To some, your feelings run deep. Joy, sadness, anger, love. You experience emotions on a level that can be almost visceral. This richness is part of your charm, but can also intimidate people who are more comfortable skimming emotional surfaces. Jung believed that emotional depth connects us to the shadow and to collective human experience. When your feelings show up authentically, they crack open the walls people build around their hearts. Some welcome this vulnerability, others shy away, fearing their own emotional storms. If you've ever been called too sensitive or too much emotionally, know that it's your aura inviting others to explore their own inner worlds, whether they want to or not. Sign #24. Your authenticity shines, whether you want it to or not. When you're aligned with your true self, your aura radiates authenticity like a beacon. You don't have to try hard or put on a mask. Being genuine becomes your default mode, and people can feel it instantly. This kind of openness can feel like a breath of fresh air to some, but it can make others uncomfortable too. Why? Because your realness highlights their own pretenses. They might react with admiration, envy, or defensiveness. Jung proposed that authenticity is central to individuation, yet society often rewards conformity and penalizes those who deviate. So while your truth lights the way forward, it can also isolate you, but that's the price of freedom. Sign #25. You have a calming effect on those around you, even without trying. People often come to you when they're stressed or upset. Maybe you've been called a grounding presence, or someone whose calmness helps others breathe easier. This is no accident. It's the natural outcome of your integrated aura. Carl Jung talked about the archetype of the healer and the wise counselor, energies that some people carry naturally. Your peaceful energy can subtly regulate the environment, creating a space where others feel safe to be vulnerable. However, this role can be demanding. Constantly being the source of calm for others can drain your energy. That's why self-care and boundaries are so important for you. Signed #26. You feel misunderstood, often deeply so. One of the toughest signs of your powerful aura is the frequent experience of being misunderstood. People might misinterpret your intentions, overanalyze your words, or make assumptions about your character. This doesn't mean you're difficult or that you lack clarity. It means that your energy is complex and multifaceted, something that isn't always easy for others to grasp. Jung believed that those on the path of individuation walk a lonely road because they're deeper. Truths often don't fit conventional narratives. You might find yourself constantly explaining or defending parts of yourself that feel obvious to you, but invisible to others. Sign number 27. You instinctively seek growth, even when it's uncomfortable. Change can be painful, especially when it forces you to confront your shadow or unfamiliar parts of yourself. But your aura carries an undeniable commitment to personal evolution. You push yourself to grow even when it's easier to stay comfortable. Jung's whole psychological theory revolved around individuation, the process of becoming your true self through sustained self-work. This journey is rarely smooth or popular. It demands courage, patience, and often solitude. People around you may not understand why you often choose growth over ease, but your aura signals a restless soul, unwilling to settle for superficiality. Sin #28. You notice that your mood can influence others, sometimes unintentionally, because your energy is so vivid. Your internal emotional state tends to ripple through the people around you. When you feel aligned and positive, you uplift the atmosphere. When you're off or stressed, others unconsciously pick up on that tension. This subtle energetic transmission happens without any effort or intention. Jung called this the unconscious transmission of the self, how your inner state affects others on a psychic level. This means you have a responsibility toward your own emotional health, even if it sometimes feels like a heavy burden. Taking care of yourself isn't just for you, it's for everyone you influence as well. When rare energy feels like a burden, you've probably noticed it's lonely at the edges. In a world wired for surface living, having a powerful, integrated aura feels like both a blessing and a burden. There will always be days you wonder, wouldn't it be easier to just blend in, to keep things light, to stop feeling so much, seeing so deeply, sensing so intensely? But the truth is, you were never built for easy. You were built for truth, transformation, and the kind of growth that shakes foundations, not just your own, but often for those around you. 2. Carl Jung said it best: individuation, the journey to true wholeness, is not for the faint of heart. Most will never answer that call. Those who do sometimes pay the price in isolation, misunderstanding, and the feeling of being forever other. But your very difference is proof of your depth. You're not broken. You're not too much. You're simply rare and rare. Energy inevitably stirs up resistance in those not quite ready for it. Why you must keep shining. If your presence shakes people up, it's not a sign you need to shrink. It's evidence you're living with authenticity, maybe more authenticity than most people dare to allow themselves. You are, for better or worse, a mirror. Some will flinch when they see parts of themselves they've worked so hard to hide or ignore. Others will feel oddly drawn to your honesty, your calm, your ability to cut straight to the heart of things. Either way, you light up the spaces you walk into, not with noise or bravado, but simply by existing as your fullest, truest self. Embrace your too muchness. Here's what's wild. Those qualities that unsettle others, your quiet, your questions, your uncanny sense for energy, are exactly what sets you apart as a transformative force. What makes you too much for some is exactly the depth that heals, inspires, and brings light to those who are open to it. If you ever feel tempted to dull your sparkle or shrink yourself to make others comfortable, remember, you weren't sent here to be palatable. You were sent here to break patterns, awaken hearts, and invite others, if only in your silent presence, to step into more of who they really are. Finding your true tribe. Yes, many will misunderstand your energy. Some will project their insecurities onto you, call you intimidating, or quietly keep their distance. But your tribe, the ones who are ready for your level of truth and authenticity, will notice you. They'll breathe easier in your presence, not harder. They'll thank you for your honesty, your strength, and even the way you challenge them to grow. Let those connections be your proof. The deeper you go into yourself, the brighter the beacon you become for kindred souls, those who aren't scared off by honesty or shadow, but drawn to it. In time, you may discover that your loneliness was just preparation for the authentic relationships that only a rare aura like yours can truly sustain. Final thoughts. Turn your sensitivity into strength. You're walking this path. If your energy unsettles, triggers, or even inspires others, you're doing the work Carl Jung talked about. Evolving, individuating, and becoming fully, fiercely yourself. Yes, it can be isolating. And yes, it often requires courage most will never see, but your presence matters. Your aura changes the spaces you move through, whether people thank you for it or not. So don't apologize for your sensitivity, your insight, or your ability to sense what others ignore. Don't explain away your depth just because it makes some people uncomfortable. Keep shining, keep asking questions, keep carrying your rare energy with pride and humility. Because when enough people do the hard work of becoming whole, the world slowly shifts. You serve as a reminder, sometimes a gentle nudge, sometimes a firm wake-up call of what's possible when someone dares to embody their true self. And for those who are ready, your aura becomes a silent invitation. Come join me, not on the surface, but in the depths where real transformation begins. That's it for this video. If you made it here, you're probably one of the rare ones. 2. Don't shrink, don't apologize. And remember, rare energy isn't a problem to fix, it a gift to embrace.